party people. Well, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week on the show, I'm joined by Eleanor Hyde for a game of A Weekend in the Country. Eleanor is a member of Audacious Machine Creative and the executive producer of Unwell, an award-winning fiction podcast about conspiracies, ghosts, and unusual families of blood and choice, as well as the executive producer of her new podcast, World Gone Wrong. World Gone Wrong is a fictional chat show about friendship at the end of the world. Malik and Jamie were roommates when the world ended, and now separated by half the country, as well as literal acid rain, werewolves, aliens, vampires, a whole lot of other things. They start a chat podcast to stay in touch and work through the increasing uncertainty of their new apocalyptic reality. World Gone Wrong is wonderful. It is funny, it is clever, it is cathartic. It feels both immensely real and also fantastical and fun all at the same time. I really think you should check it out because I think the show is genuinely something special. You can find more information about the show at audaciousmachinecreative.com, or you can check the show notes for more information. A Weekend in the Country is a game about murder. When you were invited to the Adler Country House for a weekend getaway, you didn't expect the after-dinner entertainment to be murder. Side note, that's just one of those words you really gotta put the mustard on, and I'm not gonna stop doing it throughout the episode, so get ready. While you wait for the police to arrive, you decide to put your finely honed detective skills to good use to try and figure out which of our four suspects is guilty. But you had better hurry before the killer strikes again. This game is such a love letter to like classic Agatha Christie cozy mystery stories, and it does that really, really well. It is a solo game that uses the Wretched and Alone rule set, so it combines a tumbling wood block tower. The company that makes those is not paying me, they can fuck off. As well as a deck of cards to propel the action forward as you investigate and try to find clues and assemble a poker hand to identify and successfully accuse the murderer. The game is genuinely a blast. I think it made for a really interesting episode of the show, and I'm really, really excited for you to hear it. You can find more information about A Weekend in the Country at laurieasmith.itch.io or check the show notes for more information. But first, Present Jeff here with a quick update about what you can find at patreon.com/JeffStormer. Ignore what I may or may not say later in the episode if it's a different URL. In case you missed it, we launched a brand new Party of One side series on Patreon. I've wanted to do more sequel episodes and like returning guests for a really long time, and I realized I could just do that on Patreon. And thus, Party of One Plus One deeper dives into the games, guests, and stories that we feature on the main feed. There are 3 episodes available right now on Patreon. That is Conflict of Interest with Senda, which is a gay, lesbian, forbidden romance spy drama. I can't sell that to you better than that. A special extra playthrough of Pale Dot with the game's designer Devin Nelson, and Jadzia Axelrod, my dear friend and creator of Galaxy the Prettiest Star, joins me for a special Galaxy fanfiction one-shot. All 3 episodes are really, really wonderful. We're releasing these episodes somewhere between bi-weekly and monthly, and that's on top of early access to Party of One episodes and games as they come out, the eventual return of Party of None, which is our solo actual-ish play podcast, and a whole lot more. You can find all of that at patreon.com/JeffStormer. Also, an ad. This episode is brought to you by Empress of Dust, a new science fantasy novel by Alex Kingsley. The novel is about a future where giant crabs have taken over the Earth and only one human city remains, and it follows a trans boy who gets lost in the desert wasteland and must befriend the crabs in order to return home. You can probably hear the excitement in my voice right there because that's a fucking pitch. But also it keeps getting cooler because there is also an accompanying tabletop RPG, Creatures of Ruin, in which you play as a human or a crab monster who also has magic powers, because of course they do. Both the game and novel have original monster illustrations that look sick as fuck and are being published by Space Wizard Science Fantasy, a small press that specializes in queer science fiction and fantasy. The novel is available right now at Amazon or your bookstore of choice. The game will be available soon. You can find more information about both at spacewizardsciencefantasy.com or alexkingsley.org, and you can check out more of Alex's games at alexyquest.itch.io. And truly, one more time, that's a fucking pitch. And with all that said, let's go ahead and throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. I am so excited. I've got the game in front of me that I'm looking at. I'm feeling the energy. I'm sitting down with Eleanor Hyde. Eleanor, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Thank you for having me. I am also so excited to be here.
I'm so thrilled. There's truly a moment when you have the game stuff in front of you. I think it's probably especially potent on your end for reasons we'll break down in a minute. But like, you just feel that excitement of like, we're going to get to play a game and have some fun. I'm just so excited.
Well, and you really did find a game that I feel like touches a part of my nerddom that I don't get to play in very often, so I'm like really stoked for that.
Honestly, one of my favorite things that I get to do in the show, truly like a joy of my life, and I'm so excited to talk about that in a moment. But before we get there, why don't you take a moment and let our lovely listeners at home know about anything you've got going on you might want them to know about?
Yeah, totally. So I am an audio fiction podcast producer, and I work on a number of different shows. The one that people are probably most likely to have heard of is a show called Unwell, a Midwestern Gothic Mystery, which is a 5-season audio drama about a small town in Ohio with a ghost problem. And the thing that I'm working on most actively right now is a show called World Gone Wrong, which is a fictionalized chat show about two best friends who are living through an apocalypse and start a podcast to process their feelings about it. The apocalypse they're living in has like werewolves and alien body replacers and time travel and like all kinds of weird shit, and it is only sort of almost entirely informed by the experience of living through a global pandemic and the feeling that everything is on fire all the time. I don't, it's like that.
A little bit, maybe the slightest bit relatable, looking out the window and going, how is every possible thing going wrong at the same time?
Yeah, so it's meant to be sort of a like funny, warm, heart-driven show about how everything is terrible all the time.
there's like such a real catharsis in that, right? Like there's such a real sense of like, there's such a real sense of like, we look out the window, things are bad. We can, but like being able to like or find joy in that, I think is really like a powerful practice, Yeah,
totally. And so the show is like a Monster of the Week style show. Every single episode, they're talking about some new bonkers thing that has happened. The episode that came out most recently was a follow-up episode about werewolves, discussing the fact that in the story there is a brand new werewolf test that you can take. But it is mostly a story about two best friends and the way in which like friendship and community makes living through a really difficult world easier and better. So
I love that. That's really such a beautiful anchor grounding point, and I love hearing this. That's such a beautiful like North Star to point to of like, it's how we're all getting through, and like being able to see that in this heightened space is really kind of beautiful.
Totally. And it's, I don't know, maybe it's weird to call this political, but like one of my political axioms is that like friendship is important and needs to be treated as such in storytelling and in life. So yeah, it's a lot of that.
Not to completely change the vibe, but there's about to be a murder.
There's a murder.
A murder. We are playing A Weekend in the Country, which is a Wretched and Alone game about a detective in a fancy cottage trying to track down the means, the motive, and the murder. The facts as we know them. You are a renowned detective, and stories of your exploits are widely shared. You are sharp, observant, likable. You move with equal ease in the finest soirees and the back alley pubs, and you are a master of getting people to open up and talk to you. This past weekend, you have been invited to the country house of Lord Adler, retired colonel of the Imperial Yeomanry Cavalry, to enjoy a relaxed getaway with the Lord's family and a few close friends. Dinner passes innocently enough, but early in the morning you are awakened by a maid's screams. Lord Adler has been found dead, murdered in his bedroom.
J'accuse!
I'm so excited to drop a dun 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 in there. Like
a dun dun dun.
Sometimes we really get to like play with the toys in the toy box, and you really have to savor those moments.
Yes.
So you mentioned a little bit at top. Like, what is it that drew you to this game of all the ones that I floated over? Like, talk to me about like what's got you excited and what you're bringing to the table this week.
Yeah. I'm kind of obsessed with murder mysteries. I think this I'm gonna put as an origin point for this, that when starting in 2016, for reasons, I got into this headspace where I just wanted to read books that were like cozy and fun. I just really got into like, I wanted to be consuming stories that were like a fun romp. And I started reading the Franny Fisher murder mystery novels, which also became a TV show, which I think many people have been exposed to. But it's this long series of books. There's like 18 of them. I have read every single one multiple times now. It just, like, all through the pandemic ended up being this thing that I was kind of just like, going through them over and over and over again. And at some point I was like, noticing that these books were all super inspired by Agatha Christie. And I switched gears and have been reading my way through the Agatha Christie library. She wrote about 65 books and then additional like plays and short stories and things. I think I've now read like 30 of them.
That's incredible. That rips.
And that's been over like maybe a year and a half. Like I've been just like eating, like consuming them like like just constantly. I love them. And like the thing about Agatha Christie is she wrote so many books, and like some of them are amazing and some of them are not. Like they just are wildly.
And like the thing is like there's something really inspiring in that.
Yes.
Like there's something inspiring to like seeing a master of the space, somebody that is like held up for generations and going like, yeah, you know what? You did kind of phone this one in. And that means that it's okay if I phone it in once in a while too.
Well, and also that there's like some of her books that I've read where I'm like, you were trying something out with this book and it didn't work.
And that's so cool to see and to like be able to be like, I appreciate that as an artist that you have tried something that didn't work.
As a creative and a storyteller, like I have found that to be really compelling. And I also it's really, really, I just love living in this genre. It's fun, both in the sort, like when I say cozy, I mean like a type of storytelling where I'm like, I know it's all going to wrap up by the end. I know it's going to resolve. I know we're going to feel like everybody like got what they deserve at the end of the story. And that, like, nobody's going to be in too much gruesome danger. Like, yeah, people will get murdered, but, like, it's never too gritty. And there's something about that that's really lovely, but also just, like, watching the way thing gets, like, put together with all these building blocks, and you get to see them, like, stack up to an answer at the end.
There's a
really
magic trick, almost. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing that I get drawn to a lot is, like, the magic trick of like you see the pieces and like when it's revealed of like here's everything that you didn't notice that like became important is such a joy.
And also like this thing of going back to the Agatha Christie's in particular and being like, oh, this is she basically created a genre.
Yeah.
Like I read And Then There Were None. And which is her most famous book. It's apparently sold more copies than the Bible, which is insane.
That's wild.
And I was reading it, I got halfway through, and I was like, okay, I knew that Clue, the movie, was based on an Agatha Christie. Like, I knew it was a spoof of an Agatha Christie. But I had not realized that it was, like, a direct spoof of this book. Yeah. There is a moment in And Then There Were None where a man slaps a woman across the face to stop her from being hysterical, and it is almost identical to the moment in Clue, the movie, where it happens. Except in there, it's played as a joke, and in the book, it is not. It's incredible.
It's so cool.
So it's fun to kind of like live in this space and be like, oh, this is a language of storytelling that has then turned around and informed all this other stuff in our culture.
It's such a joy, and like I've been thinking, I was trying to think a lot about like what my actual favorite whodunit is, and I couldn't find a great answer because the immediate answer that I went to technically isn't a whodunit because boy howdy have I spent a lot of time in my life hanging out with Detective Columbo, which is not technically a whodunit because you already know whodunit.
So good.
But like, God, hours and hours, and I could spend hours and hours more. Like, there's never a bad time. But like, one that is, I watched recently that I really fell in love with, a really great whodunit, is there was a movie that dropped last year called Wicked Little Letters.
Oh, I don't know this one.
It's got Olivia Colman in it, and it is about a real crime case from like the 1890s, I believe, in England, of a spree of rude letters that had been like mailed to people in a small town. It is like a small British town where people were getting rude letters, and like that's the premise, and like they present it as like a serial killer who done it. Like you see the investigators.
This looks amazing, and also to my point about Agatha Christie did everything first. That's an Agatha Christie book. There is a Miss Marple book that starts with everyone in town is getting these horrible letters, and they're trying to figure out from who. And then someone gets murdered. So now I'm going to have to go watch this. This looks great.
It's great. It's a really fun, and like they play with the whodunit structure really well, and like they do the thing that I love where they get partway through and then tell you who it is, and then you watch the second half, like watching how they're playing things out. It's great. I highly recommend it.
That's awesome.
So, with all of that said, we have introduced the premise. Let me talk a little bit about like what we're going to be doing, as well as introducing the suspects of the murder today.
Awesome.
I have a deck of cards here in front of me. It is a very lovely promotional deck of cards from Athens, Clarke County, Georgia. I've never been to Athens, Clarke County, Georgia, but it does have a lovely backing of like their town hall or courthouse. I'm not sure.
Great.
But it's got the vibe. I've got a nice deck of cards in front of me. And I've split them into 5 decks. There are 5 rooms in the house that you're going to be investigating, but as you investigate, you are going to be confronted. It's going to take time to investigate, and as you are trying to solve this murder, our murderer is primed to strike again, and that is going to be represented by the tumbling woodblock tower, possibly with a brand name associated with it, but they're not giving me money, so they can get fucked.
Mine's a knockoff anyway, so
perfect.
Yeah.
You're going to draw bricks from that wood tower. I'm going to draw cards to represent the clues that you are gathering. You are going to try and identify who the murderer is and which of our 4 suspects are guilty. There are 4 people that may have committed this murder. They are Lady Adler, Lord Adler's somewhat younger wife, second daughter to a well-known London merchant's family. Lady Blakely, an amateur artist and childhood friend of Lady Adler. Her much older husband is sickly and had to stay at home. Lord Entwistle in his early 20s. The young lord is accompanied by his mother, the widow Lady Entwistle, whose late husband served with Lord Adler until he was court-martialed and dishonorably discharged. And Mr. Cooper, Lord Adler's valet, a young man with ambitions beyond his station. One of these 4 people killed Lord Adler and might kill again over the course of this weekend. It is your job to find clues, identify, put together a case, which you will do by assembling a 5-card stud deck of poker cards, and hopefully solve this murder before someone else dies. Are you ready, detective, to begin your investigation?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, you have 5 rooms in Lord Adler's manor that you can investigate from. Each one of them is represented by a stack of cards that are in front of me. I will draw a card. I will ask you to describe the clue that you have discovered and like what questions or possibilities come from it. And then I will have you draw a certain number of blocks from your tower to represent the time that the investigation is taking.
Okay.
Would you like to investigate the downstairs study, the upstairs bedroom, the attic, the servants' quarters, or the kitchen?
I think we should start in the bedrooms because that was where he was found.
All right. We have drawn the Queen of Diamonds. We are in... Give me a detail. Describe to me a detail about these bedrooms as I get ready to read you your clue.
Oh, right. Okay, so this is one of these old manor houses with like a long hallway, and all the bedrooms are kind of along that hallway. So you might, and then the windows look out into the gardens on either side of the house. So you might, run into each other coming or going from the rooms up there.
I like that, especially because like there's a certain, and like what I'm envisioning, like the because they're both the upstairs, but also the scope of this house, like There is a clear sense that, like, you can see the gardens, but they can absolutely not see what is happening in those windows.
Yes.
Great. As you are investigating these bedrooms, you are approached by Old Lady Entwistle. The widow Entwistle tries to bribe you to drop the case, saying it's best to let police handle this ghastly affair and let it fade into obscurity. How do you respond?
Well, this is very awkward because Old Lady Entwistle is, like, we do respect her, but also, wait, she's not our host, right? She's
No.
She's the mother of
Lord Entwistle, who is one of our suspects of the murder.
So that makes me suspicious of her son. Like, what is she trying to hide? I think I would respond by saying, well, Lady Entwistle, I appreciate your thoughts and I will certainly take it into consideration. But primarily I feel I must be guided by the wishes of Lady Adler and in how we take this forward.
That's great. That's great. And so, like, I just get the visual of Lady Entwistle, like, lurking in the background. Like, as we draw cards, like, that energy of just, like, you exit this hallway and she's just looming and we just kind of see her in the background is very...
Like, I have to talk to you.
Like, you need to back off of this case. I think that, like, it's a lot of, like, she like leans on a cane and is doing that real ominous cane lean of, like, leaning forward and, like, leaning back a little bit. It's a lot, and it's a lot of, like, partially lit rooms. Like, so much of this, the size of this manor is such that there are a lot of, like, the lighting is not the best, and it always looks like she is just a little bit in the shadows when she's, like, watching you.
Giving it, like, a little bit of a noir vibe. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Roll me a d6.
All right. I got a 4, which means I am now going to pull 4 blocks from this tower.
That is correct.
All right, this first one's really easy. I'm going to put it up at the top. Let's see. Ooh, that one also came out really easy.
We were talking about... I'm going to wait until you're...
Okay.
I don't want to distract.
3. This is also, like, I feel like, when you play this tower game with other people, you're trying to, like, fuck them up, and I'm like, no, but I'm just playing against myself. I don't need to make this hard. Okay, that is 4.
That's great. We were talking briefly before we got on mic about the joys that were going to come from the Foley of hearing. And, like, when you slid out that first brick and I heard it clatter, I was like, I was like, no.
I love it.
This is great. Okay. So you have investigated the bedrooms. Where would you like to investigate next?
I think let's do the study. See, I'm hoping we find something about what he was working on or his correspondence.
The 6 of spades. So what we have found, spades represent misery and misfortune. And we have found a Meissen porcelain figurine lying cracked on the floor.
Oh.
Talk to me about this figurine. What's the porcelain figurine that pops into your head what's laying on the floor in front of us?
So the immediate thing that pops into my mind is a plot. It's a reference to the Jeeves, the Bertie Wooster and Jeeves books.
Sure. Yeah.
In which there is a long running plot line about some old lord of some old manor house who's really obsessed with porcelain figurines.
Love it.
So what jumps to mind is, like, a shepherdess, like a frilly dress and a staff.
Yeah.
And a little, like, moppet on her head. And she has fallen on the ground and, like, broken into a bunch of pieces, and her body parts are all over the place.
Yeah, and I think that, like, the thing that is maybe most notable, or the thing that jumps out to me, the visual that I pop up, is, like, that the visual of I'm gonna throw out that the actual staff itself is, like, shattered in a way that does not seem to correspond to the statue, the figurine itself just falling over. Like a lot of these a lot of these like these shatter points seem like it fell on the ground and shattered, but like it doesn't seem like it would make sense for it to fall in the angle that it seems to have fallen, and also for the staff itself to have been shattered from in the way that it is shattered.
So that makes me think that it was either thrown or it was used as a weapon.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Give me some. I've committed to using the actual sound effect once, but that's not gonna stop us from hitting a couple extra dun dun duns. Also, I discovered today that there's a Wikipedia page for dun 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 written out as dun dun dun, and like that just made my night. I just want you to have that as a gift.
I love that. I'm gonna look that up later. I gotta roll this dice again, don't I?
Yep.
All right. How long did that take? 2.
Okay. Not bad.
All
Not
right.
bad.
Not bad. Okay, I'm taking one from the very bottom in the middle, trying to keep this tower stable. It's already wobbling. I hate that. Okay. This one. Okay, I'm taking that one out because it was very loose, but it did make a layer where there's only one block now.
That's never great.
It was probably dumb of me, but okay, great. I'm done. That's 2 blocks.
Okay. The investigation continues. Where are we headed to next?
I think I want to go down to the servants' quarters and see if we can rustle something up about Mr. Cooper. Though my bias tells me it's usually not the servants.
The Ace of Diamonds. Diamonds represent money and fortune. The Ace, okay. Things have continued to escalate.
Uh-oh.
Young Lord Entwistle confesses that he's glad Adler is dead. Entwistle has always blamed Adler for what happened to his father. What does he tell you happened, and do you believe it's the truth?
Oh. All right, so what we knew already was that the late Lord Entwistle, the father, served in the army with Lord Adler, and he was court-martialed and dishonorably discharged. Okay, what do we think happened? I think it involved a love affair.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And that Lord Adler accused him of bad behavior with a young woman, and that got him discharged. Yeah.
I like that a lot. I think that's wonderful. And like, I mean,
you would keep that secret, you know? It was like you'd like usher him out, but you wouldn't tell everybody.
Yeah, and like, and it's that sense of like I'm confessing that I'm glad that he's dead because of that. Mm-hmm. Like, whether that's true or not, like that is, and like it also lends credence to why Lady Entwistle wants this covered up, right? Like this is getting into the meat of this particular family history that has laid dormant for probably decades.
It's his fault. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Uh-oh. All right.
I'm rolling dice again. Oh, it was a 4.
Oh, God.
That feels high. Okay.
That feels high for there's already a row with only 1 brick.
I did this to myself. Okay, that one came loose pretty easy. 1. Oh gosh. No, don't fall. Okay, I just like whacked it by accident. Okay. 2. 3. 4. I just made another one with only 1. What was I thinking? Okay.
I need it. I also need the listener to know that like we don't have cameras on for this. And so like I'm just hearing a series of the most stressful noises that I can muster. And then
I'm gonna take
bumps and just going like, oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to be as expressive as possible for everybody to enjoy this. Okay.
It's it. I can tell you it's hitting me.
Great.
It's stressing me out, which is great. Okay. So we have 3 cards. Once 2 more cards are drawn, we can start to assemble a poker hand that is our accusation. Or you can continue to draw and try to develop a better poker hand. So, where are we headed next?
I think let's go to the attic.
Let's go to the attic.
Good secrets in the attic.
Where are we at? The attic. We are coming to the attic. We have drawn the 2 of spades. So right now, the 4 cards in front of us are the Queen of Diamonds, the Ace of Diamonds, the 6 of Spades, and the 2 of Spades. Spades are misery and misfortune. Ooh, okay. I've got 2 questions for you related to this clue.
Okay.
You have picked up a rumor about a betrayal committed long ago.
Oh.
And I'm saying those words out loud and realizing that, yeah, we kind of just found that out. But like,
there could be more betrayals.
What other betrayal has occurred, and how are you finding this out?
I think that this betrayal is between Lady Adler and Lady Blakely. Mm-hmm. That when they were much younger, something happened between them. And, they've like made up over the years, maybe, we think. But, I know what it was. Lady Blakely wanted to marry Lord Adler, and Lady Adler got in there somehow first.
Yeah.
They were like both courting this rich old man, and Lady Adler got the landed the deal first. Sure.
Okay. I feel like we're getting the web of deception in place. It's starting to take shape. All right. Do you want to draw some bricks?
Oh, yeah. My favorite part. Oh, that's a 6.
Oh, I don't think that I'm not saying anything just yet, but I'm not sure that someone's making it out of this one.
All right. Okay. That's 1 brick. This is, Jesus Christ, 2 bricks.
This is so stressful.
What's so funny is I think you could probably hear it better because I have my headphones in.
Sure,
right.
Yeah.
All right, that was 2. 3. It's so wobbly. All right. 4.
We're halfway there.
Jeff, I'm really good at this at off-brand Jenga. I'm just saying.
I'm so glad. Like, honestly, unexpected delight and highlight of the episode is learning that you are specifically good at off-brand Jenga.
I used to pull this out at parties a lot as like a thing to do while drinking. Okay, 6. That's 6. All right.
Honestly, okay. Phenomenal, like underrated party activity to just break out and be like, we're breaking it out.
I'm taking a picture of it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay. Please share that with me after the recording because I need it. All right. I'm taking a moment. Where are we headed next? Our next card will be our 5th card, which means we can start to put together our accusations.
Yes. Let's go back to the study.
Okay. We have the Jack of Diamonds.
Okay.
The Jack of Diamonds. We are in the study. Diamonds represent money, fortune. The maid has delivered a sealed envelope to you containing a generous sum of money with a note from Lord Adler. If you have gotten this, it means I have met my demise. I hope this will cover your expenses to find the culprit and bring them to justice.
Oh, okay.
Fuck yeah. Yeah. Great props. For the record.
Take that, Lady Entwistle. We're finishing this case.
What does the maid say about the Lord's demeanor when he left her the note?
Oh. I think he would have been very serious and like entrusted her with a serious and like important task. Yeah, that's right, because in order to do this, he would have had to say to this servant, this is the event in which you should deliver this. Well, that's a bit,
If after dinner, while the detective is here, please give them this sum of money. Like, that's ominous.
I also think that if I was writing this mystery novel, it would be significant when he told her to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would probably, for telling the excellent story, say it was like right before I came to visit this weekend.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
So, like, because that implies that, like, something has happened recently prior to this, you know, like, everybody coming to the manor house for the weekend. Something happened that made him go, I'm worried. I'm worried that this group we're bringing together for the weekend might have it out for me.
And, like, it also implies that, like, because he could have done this a week ago. Like, you know, it takes time to organize a party of this scale. Like, to bring all these people together, like, takes time. If he had organized this with the intent of, like, I think I'm trying to suss out someone who's trying to get me, he could have handed off that envelope a month ago. Like, he could have handed that off a week ago. The fact that he did it, you know, if it's Friday night, and the fact that he did it Friday afternoon, or, like, moments before you walk in the door, that means that not only did something happen, something suddenly changed in a very dramatic way.
A classic of the genre, if you will.
Yeah.
It also, I think, takes the heat off Mr. Cooper, the servant, because he could murder his lord whenever he felt like it.
Yeah, it didn't need to be when all of these people were here. We say that now, but I mean, we'll see what happens in a moment when you roll a dice and draw some bricks.
Oh, yeah. That's a 2.
Okay, 2's not bad.
I think I can do 2. Let's make this happen. Oh my gosh, come on. Where's a loose one? Okay, that was so much wobbling. But it did not fall.
Okay. Is that 2 or is that 1?
No, just 1.
We got one more.
It's getting so top heavy. Okay. Okay, there we go. That's 2 on the top. Okay. Yeah,
okay.
I don't know that it's gonna go one more round.
Okay. Here's what I'll say. We have 5 cards. Right now, you've got a high card ace.
Okay.
But you also have the Jack, Ace, and Queen of Diamonds.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got the Jack, Ace, and Queen of Diamonds, and the 6 and 2 of Spades.
So remind me, because I remember I read this in the instructions, but remind me, like, I'm playing this hand against something, right?
Yeah. You're going to assemble the best possible hand, you're going to lay it out, and then I'm going to draw the top card off of each of the 5 rooms in front of us.
Gotcha.
So there's going to be, like, a randomly created hand from the remaining cards.
That is, like, theoretically the murderer's hand.
Yeah, then that represents the hand of the murderer.
Gotcha.
If your hand is better, you are correct. If you're wrong, then there's information you have not determined.
Okay. And I have 3 face cards. I wrote them down as you said that. So I have 3 face cards.
You've got the Jack, the Ace, and the Queen of Diamonds, and the 6 and 2 of Spades.
I feel like we should play it.
You want to play it?
Look, apparently I'm very good at Jenga. I'm not good at poker. Poker is not one of my skills.
So there's so I am.
Yes, please coach me on the poker side.
here's what we're doing. Sometimes a story detail becomes apparent partway through, and you know, as creators, we know that like that means that as artists, we gotta like readjust the story. You have had an assistant this entire time. I've been here with you, helping to solve this murder with you this whole time. That feels right. We're working together here.
Oh yes, you can be my Captain Hastings.
That feels good.
If I am Poirot. Yes, of course.
That feels great. I'm down for this. Or any number of delightful character actors in Poker Face. Treasure. If you have not sat down with Poker Face, fucking magical. Okay, so what I'm thinking is like, we're in a position where we're like 1 or 2 cards away from a number of like way better hands than we've got.
Okay.
So like if we get, and like, the particular cards that we've drawn have forced me to kind of bend the rules of what we're working with a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because we're 1 card away from a royal flush, which is the rarest hand to pull, and I'm kind of like,
if that would be a king, right? Like if we managed to pull that king.
if we pull the 10, theoretically we would need to pull the 10 and the king, but the king is technically not in the deck because there are
right. The king is representing Lord Entwistle,
and so like I would, if we happen to draw the 10 of diamonds, I'm willing to break the rules and pull this card into the hand as one of the pieces of evidence. Like that's fair game for me. But also,
I do think if we do that, I have to accuse him. But yeah.
Well, so that's actually one of the rules is that you have to accuse, because there are 4 face cards tied to the 4 suits of the deck. You have to accuse a person who is in one of the suits of one of the cards, which if you're playing all diamonds is full on an accusation in one direction.
Sure. Like, okay, so like I have in my hand right now diamonds and spades, which means I only have clues that I can use to accuse Lady Blakely or Lord Entwistle.
That is correct. Those are our suspects at the moment. I feel like here's the thing. I don't want to like risk us losing losing a victim, but like I do feel like we're 1 or 2 cards away from something much better.
Okay, look, Jeff, the best part of any murder mystery is the part where the second victim dies and stakes go up.
You're right. We're pulling another card.
I'm going to be devastated when this tower falls over, but it's going to make for great podcasting. So right. I think we should do it.
Let's do it. Where are we headed? Which of our rooms are we headed towards?
I'm going to go to the kitchen.
Let's go to the kitchen.
And see if any of the servants have gossip about the Entwistles.
That is the 5 of hearts. That does not help us, but you know what? We've got time. We've got some.
Yeah.
And also, okay. We've got some threads to pull on. Hearts represent passion and love. We have rumors of a forbidden love affair.
Oh.
There's so much hidden romance boiling under the surface. This is a real grocery store paperback that we're flipping through, and I'm loving it.
You ready?
Yeah.
I suspected this from the moment I got this invitation, and I knew who was coming, but Lady Adler's maid has confirmed that her and Lord Entwistle are having an affair.
Oh ho ho.
Yeah. I mean, we could all kind of tell, like the vibes were there, but it's definitely happening.
Sure. Well, and what makes that really interesting, like what really kind of jumps out to me is that, like, why did she hand over the money in that case?
Oh, uh-huh.
Like, I don't know, like, there's something very interesting about, like, but also that kind of maybe speaks to, like, I mean, she was told to release that under specific conditions, but, like, I don't know, like that really complicates the decision to hand over that envelope and not hide it. There's something really interesting, like there's something interesting to hold that in our heads as you draw some bricks and absolutely do not knock over this tower because I believe in you.
Thank you. All right. That's a 2.
2's not bad. 2's not bad.
2's not a bad. Okay, I'm taking one from the very bottom layer. Yeah. Okay, the whole tower just shifted, but it did not fall.
That's great. That's great.
It just did that thing where like everything went thunk, and okay. Now I'm putting that on top. Oh my god, it's so wobbly. Okay.
I am feeling wobbly in my chair. Is the thing.
This is just a disaster. Okay. Oh. I feel like if I breathe on it, it's gonna fall over.
I feel like we've pulled an improbable number of cards of bricks.
Oh my god! Okay, I'm taking another picture.
Great, God,
I did it.
I'm so excited. Okay, I think we gotta keep going. I don't feel great about a high card ace.
Okay. Next we are going back to the bedrooms.
Back to the bedrooms.
I want to look through Lady Adler's stuff.
Okay. You know what? This is good. This is the Ace of Hearts. That's great. That means we officially have a pair of aces, which is a very strong hand.
Okay.
And the Ace of Hearts, love, passion. You are investigating Lady Adler's bedroom when she approaches and tries to seduce you. How do you react?
Oh.
What a twist.
What a twist. I think that I think that I turn her down politely with a basic this is I'm pulling this reference from the Miss Fisher murder mysteries. This happens in those books. I'm gonna pull the I must decline while you are a suspect in the murder. But ask me again later.
That's so funny. That's so funny. That's
Yeah, you can't sleep with your suspects. It's a really bad idea.
That's funny. That's great. There's admittedly, there is a moment where I don't know if I'd have made the same call, and I respect you for that. If I'm being perfectly honest.
To be fair, Miss Fisher often breaks that rule in those books. But this throws a whole new light on the rumors of a betrayal between Lady Adler and Lady Blakely. Just saying.
It does. It really, really does.
Yeah.
Absolute side note. And as I was saying, as I said that line to you, you know who in terms of like favorite second to a detective, you know who you know whose energy I've decided I'm really like tapping into?
Yeah.
Underrated. Lakeith Stanfield in Knives Out as the detective, not Marta, but like just the detective that's kind of picking his brain.
Totally.
His energy is just his energy of just like, I don't really know why you're here, but like his being like, all right, yeah, you're here. I'm gonna trust you.
I'm rolling with this. Yeah.
That
Love that guy.
all-time great counterpart to the detective. Okay, so we've got a pair of aces.
Okay.
It's not great. But
I'm like, again, split, because I feel like our hand is pretty good, and also the chaos factor in me wants to make this tower fall down.
Let's do it. Let's keep going. All right,
Okay.
draw some bricks.
Oh, that's a 1.
Okay, that's a 1. That's the best possible outcome.
It is the best possible outcome, and also this
which means she leapt at you as soon as you walked in that room. To be clear, she was there. She was waiting for you.
Oh man. Nope, that block would definitely take it down. Oh fuck. Oh man. Oh wait, I found a very loose one. I did it.
Oh, that's so satisfying. It's so satisfying when you find one late in the game and you're like, nope, that's easy.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Where to next?
Let's go to the servants' quarters.
Servants' quarters. Okay. That is the 8 of clubs.
That's our first clubs, right?
That's our first club. That's our first implicating evidence of our dear valet. Mr. Cooper, our first real look in the direction of Mr. Cooper as a potential suspect. And clubs represent violence. Specifically here, a small but lethal wound, easily missed on casual observation.
On the body, I assume?
It just says a small but lethal wound. It can be on anybody.
If it was lethal, it must be on the dead guy.
Oh, you know what? Now that you mention it, I forgot what the word lethal means. You're absolutely correct.
That's the only way that makes sense, yeah. A small but lethal wound. Okay, so things that could be overlooked would be like a puncture wound or not a gunshot, not a like big blunt action.
You know what what also is an option is signs of an allergic reaction.
Oh.
Like some like a rash around the neck or some puffiness, so like something either like punctures, but like also like the indication of like some kind of chemical thing feels like a juicy potential.
Ooh, I love that, because also what that then suggests is, okay, so this is how I'd tell this story then, is like there was a sign of death that was more obvious, that everybody was like, oh my gosh, he totally got his head smashed in. And now later we are discovering, oh no, this was a poisoning or an allergic reaction that was covered up by something more violent.
And that to me points us in the direction or resurfaces this figurine, especially if it like was used as a bashing weapon, but also thrown. Like that seems. It seems like we were wanted to believe that, or wanted to see that. Oh, aha! This thing looks like it was used as a weapon.
Someone killed him with a subtle means, and then tried to misdirect attention with a unsubtle means.
Someone knows that you are on the case and are closing in.
They should know better that I would figure it out. All right.
All right.
I have to do this tower again. All right.
Yep.
That's a 6. It's definitely coming down.
No,
all right.
There's no
here we
way.
go.
There's no way.
Here we go. It is wobbling all over the place. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's a I'm just bringing it down. There's none of. Oh. I can't believe I just got that one out.
That's great. That's great.
Just so everybody understands, there are now 4 layers in a row that are just one block.
That's so silly, is the thing. That does not feel...
And then there's 2 full layers, and then there's 2 that are just one block under that.
This is ridiculous.
And then, like, everything above that is, like, very heavy, so it's, like, incredibly top-heavy at this point. I'm taking one more pic.
Like spine, you're describing a spinal column. Is the vibe of this? Is like head and then. This okay.
It's just okay. Just okay. We're taking it down.
Okay. God, that's satisfying. Yes.
Oh, it's so good. Okay. Now I have to stack it back up again, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And as you do that, we'll find out who was struck down.
Right. So that means a second victim.
The killer has struck again. I'm going to shuffle the 4 suspects and randomly choose one as the new victim. That card is upside down, and they are now out of the game. And from now on, clues we can collect can do... Okay, so now that this is being shuffled, now that not all of our suspects are in play, now that rule about like you have to match a suit is no longer in play. Now we can go in any direction we want.
Okay. That's good because I was suddenly worried that like you were gonna pull the diamonds and I was gonna be like, our whole hand is fucked.
Our whole hand is not fucked.
Okay. Who'd you pull?
It is with a heavy heart that I announced that Lady Blakely, amateur artist, childhood friend of Lady Adler,
and we suspect her young love.
We might suspect her young love. Heartbreak for her older, sickly husband waiting at home. We now have 3 remaining suspects: Lady Adler, Lord Entwistle, and Mr. Cooper.
Oh, dear.
And we have, admittedly, a full tower sitting in front of us, which gives us some extra leeway in terms of, like, if we want to keep pulling cards or if we want to start with how we're feeling.
All right, well, I haven't fully actually stacked it all back up again, so give me one more sec.
Well, as you're doing that, I will talk about the cards that we've got. We've got the Ace, Jack, and Queen of Diamonds. We have the 5 and Ace of Hearts. We have the 2 and 6 of Spades and the 8 of Clubs, which means that we have a pair of aces, which is pretty decent. It's not great, but like for a starting place to build off of, that's pretty solid. We also have the Jack and Queen. We can potentially spin that into a couple different hands. We're in a pretty strong place. We've got a wide enough spread of cards that I think we're going to start seeing a second pair and possibly a full house on the near horizon.
Well, then I think we should pull like 1 or 2 more.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Also, while I come up with a theory for why Lady Blakely also got murdered. I haven't figured out how to weave that into the story yet.
We'll figure it out. The hand that we build will start to tell us like the narrative that we're pulling together. All right. Yeah. Where are we headed next?
I think let's go to the bedrooms. I want to look through Lady Blakely's stuff now that she's dead.
Okay. Sure enough, that is the 8 of Hearts. We now have a 2 pair. That's pretty solid. We're in a good place. A strong family bond sincerely professed.
A strong family bond sincerely professed.
I have a pitch.
Yeah?
That this is not a blood family.
Okay.
But we don't know anything about the widower Lord Blakely.
No, we don't.
Perhaps there is a larger military unit than we were initially led to believe, and perhaps there is like a connecting thread of people who serve together, people who like experience that together, and this initial betrayal of like accusing Lord Entwistle of infidelity perhaps drove that relationship even more, splintered it even further, and like this adds further like enmity to these groups, these families coming together.
Yeah.
And the fact that Lord Blakely couldn't be here.
And I think also, like, interesting in the way in which these two women have both married men that are much older than them. And so they are of a generation with the younger Lord Entwistle, while all of the, both of their husbands are like, oh yeah, his dad was a real loser.
Yeah. There's something there. This is... Okay. Do we want to continue the investigation or accuse?
I think
we can pull. I think we can pull one more. I think.
Okay, let's pull one more.
We've got a full tower. We're in a good. Yeah. We're in a strong position.
Totally. I rolled a 5.
Okay.
But like, whatever. I got a whole tower to pull from.
We got a whole tower.
No problem at all.
We're in a good spot.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay. All right. Great.
Cool.
Where are we headed next?
Let's go back to the study.
Back to the study. That is the 3 of spades. One card away from a straight, but I don't know that it's necessary. But it might not be worth chasing it. We'll see how we feel.
Okay.
Spades represent.
I regret to inform you that my cat has joined the game.
Oh no,
Cat. I have a Jenga tower here. I think this is a very bad place for you to be.
Oh, buddy, no. Oh,
Let me get him off the desk.
Stress is real.
Sorry,
Misery. A threat delivered as a joke. Who has threatened either you or Lady Blakely or Lord Adler?
Interesting. I think this is Mr. Cooper. I think this brings to light why everybody thought Mr. Cooper was a suspect, because Mr. Cooper had made some dark jokes about killing his master or like wishing him dead in very bad taste, which is why everybody was sort of like, I don't know about that guy, but like, I don't know. I feel like at this point we've like this murder is complicated enough that like whoever did it is not the kind of person who's going to go around, making themselves look guilty ahead of time. Like whoever this is too smart for that.
And to what you said earlier, like, why now? Like I feel like we're still grappling with this question of like why now. Lord Adler was grappling with the question of why now. Like something changed tonight that like led to this murder, and I need to know what that is. I'm looking at the cards in front of us. We've got 2 pair, 8s and aces. Do you think we can afford one more, or should we swing?
I think we should swing. I think we should do it.
Okay. We have 2 pair, and I'm going to throw in our high card of a queen just as a backup, in the off chance that we get the worst possible outcome of a complete tie. We've got a high card, a solid high card. All things considered, we're in a decent-ish spot. Who do we think? All 3 of our suits are represented, and also we've had a victim, so that rule is off the table. So I'm going to ask you as I start to assemble this hand. Who do we think here? Who do we want to accuse?
I am accusing Lord Entwistle.
Lord Entwistle.
Yeah. So here's I guess this is the part of the mystery where I bring everyone into the sitting room and I explain what really happened. So here's what I think happened. I think that Lord Entwistle and Lady Adler have had a long ongoing affair. She was married to a very old man. His money was great, but she was not very happy. And her and Lord Entwistle, much closer to her age, start this affair. And Lord Entwistle was rather impatient for his lover's husband to hurry up and die. So he decided that this trip to visit was his opportunity to off the husband and try and make it look like it was somebody else. Jeff, I think this murder was done with poisonous yew berries, which is why we had that sign of poison or allergy that was like, oh, that's what really killed him. And so Lord Entwistle had snuck this highly poisonous thing into the Lord's, I don't know, tea or chocolates or something. And then Lady Adler came upon her husband and was like, oh my God, I think he's dead. And she set up the distraction of first smashing him in the head with something and then trying to seduce me to distract me. So it looked, she was acting all suspiciously because she was trying to throw us off the scent, but in fact it was Lord Entwistle.
It was Lord Entwistle in service of an affair between Lord Entwistle and Lady Adler.
Exactly.
Which I think also kind of points us towards Lady Blakely. And here's what I'm even going to add to this as I lay out our cards. What I think even is worth adding to this is like maybe Lady Blakely wasn't supposed to be here. Lord Blakely was ill. Lord Blakely probably got the invite. You know, Entwistle was here as a representative of his father. Lord Blakely, they served together. This was probably like a meeting of the families. Nobody anticipated Lady Blakely showing up without her husband. That is the type of thing.
Everything up.
That's the exact type of thing that like is going to inflame a lot of existing grudges, especially if, as evidence suggests, Lord Adler knew that Lady Adler and Lord Entwistle were having an affair.
It's no good. Yeah.
If he knows this, and he knows that the lady that he has longed for his entire life, the one that got away, has just arrived on his doorstep, he knows that all of these things are going to come to light tonight. So what does he do?
He sends a note.
He hands a letter that says, hey,
of money.
things are going to get bad. Send for that detective and also their fun friend who's a gambler. Get them in the room.
Gonna make up the card table really nicely.
Get them in the room. We're gonna, just in case something happens. And sure enough, who are the two people killed? Lord Adler and the woman that almost got in the way.
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense. Let's see if we're right. We have 5 cards in front of us.
Okay.
5 cards in front of us. I'm going to flip them one at a time. Our hand, as a reminder, is the Ace of Diamonds, the Ace of Hearts, the 8 of Clubs, the 8 of Hearts, and the Queen of Diamonds for a 2-pair Aces over 8s. Our first Murderer's card is the 5 of Clubs. Our second Murderer's card is the Queen of Clubs. Our third Murderer's card is the Ace of Clubs.
Oh my.
I don't love this. This is not looking great. Okay, we got the 7 of Hearts. We're good. Okay, 7 of Hearts. Which means I don't think it's possible. I think that there's this 5th card is the 2 of Diamonds. We did it.
We did it! Lord Entwistle is dragged away by the police, never to be seen again.
So when one of the following things happens, the game comes to an end. We have made an accusation. Our poker hand wins the defending hand. We have found the killer out. We documented all of the clues in our hand. We broke how it happened. We put together how it happened. They cave. Lord Entwistle and Lady Adler cave and confess. It's gotta be, I mean, now that we've introduced the affair angle, we've introduced the two of them scheming together, they've got to turn on one another, right?
Absolutely.
I think Lady Adler absolutely sells out Lord Entwistle in
It's
a
the
heartbeat.
only way she's gonna avoid going to jail as an accessory.
Yeah.
So, obviously.
He lashes out at her because, why you didn't have to get involved. Nobody would have noticed anything had you not made the murder super obvious. It would have looked like an accident. They go at each other's throats. They start fighting, just as the siren lights appear outside. And we have solved the murder of Lord Adler and brought this case to some degree of peace. And that is a weekend in the country.
So restful. So lovely.
Let's not do this again sometime soon.
Oh, delightful.
I'm so overjoyed. That was magical. Thank you so much for playing this with me, because that was an absolute blast.
That was super fun.
What was your favorite moment from play?
Oh, I think when Lady Adler tried to seduce me. That ruled.
That was a great moment. That was
so funny.
It's such a good, I love a good, real, unexpected left turn prompt twist and just going like, all right, we're unpacking this. Cool. What's going on?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the way that colors everything that comes after. I loved the way of each individual prompt of the little character interactions we had going okay, so I see how this is shaking out. Interesting.
Well, and I think I loved it because, well, if I can make a pitch for why everybody should read the Miss Fisher murder mysteries, they're all set in the 1920s, but they're written in the 2010s and the early 2000s. And there is always some character in those books that turns out to be queer. That you're just kind of going along in the story and it'll be oh, lesbians. Awesome.
Love that.
And but because of the time period it's set in, it's it has meaning and it has stakes when it comes up in the story. Anyway, I was oh, that's great. That's super fun.
That's a fun little addition that really I know my favorite part as a player, as an audio professional. Oh. We were correct, and that was some real satisfying Foley when that tower went down.
I needed the tower to fall down. It's so fun.
And the fact that it lasted as long as it did, you get that catharsis of you're well, it happened. I got to the experience the joy of it hitting the ground and getting startled and like you said, the moment where somebody else has been killed and suddenly we have to change our entire approach. Just real fun, real joyful, real giddy. This was fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on and playing this with me. This was a treat.
What a great game.
I'm so happy. So real quick, before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
Yeah, sure thing. So I run a company called Audacious Machine Creative, and we have a website and an Instagram and whatnot. And that is where you can go check out all the various shows that I work on. Including World Gone Wrong, which I talked about at the top, Unwell, a Midwestern Gothic mystery. And then the other thing we got going on right now is we are doing a re-release of our very first show, which is called Our Fair City, which is a long-running, post-apocalyptic, darkly funny, I don't know, it's a crazy story. It has mole people and mad scientists and underground city. And
I mean, sell me hard.
It's a wild thing. Anyway, it was the team that I'm part of. It's the first thing that our team made starting in 2009, I want to say. So we're doing a big re-release of that right now, starting tomorrow, actually. So come listen along. It's going to be really fun.
I don't know how you stumbled on the fact that mole people are my favorite thing in any story that has ever been written, and I am truly levitating with joy. Just I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the concept.
Jeff, please come listen to this show. It's so silly and fun and also heartfelt. All of the mole people every single one of them is named after a type of dirt.
That's fantastic. That's
sandy,
good.
clay, loamy, silty, like just it's so funny. It's great.
Well, and you saying that, like, you have found my second favorite thing, which I do know why. Like, my favorite thing in the world is mole men. That's just a fact. My second favorite thing, and I know where this comes from, is groupings where all of the names are a specific pun family. That's because I've been growing up watching Dragon Ball Z from a young age, and I love
so good.
Like, when all of the names are like a specific thing and you get the gimmick, there's nothing better. It's magic.
Yeah. Our City is a really fun show. It's actually the show that like originally made me a fan and then a creator of audio fiction and fiction podcasts. So like, I'm really jazzed about this thing we're doing where we're re-releasing it and sort of like revisiting this story. So yeah, that's the other thing we got going on.
Love it. Well, thank you again for joining me on the show tonight. This was magical. This was a joy. Now I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Eleanor for coming on the show. Oh my gosh, that game was so much fun. Like, this was such a giddy experience. It was so fun and conversational and also like twisting and winding, and like we landed on such a satisfying mystery, which was really cool experience to see play out. This game was a blast. I had so much fun with it. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Be sure to check out World Gone Wrong. I think it is genuinely such a wonderful show. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. You can find that at audaciousmachinecreative.com. Be sure to pick up your own copy of A Weekend in the Country at laurieasmith.itch.io. Check the show notes for more information on both of those. And be sure to follow Eleanor Hyde on social at Eleanor Hyde. You can also find us on pretty much whichever social media you prefer at Party of One Pod or Jeff Stormer, depending. And if you enjoy the show and you want to support it, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. Subscribe to our newsletter at buttondown.email/partyofonepodcast and join our Discord community at bit.ly/partyofonediscord. You can support us financially at patreon.com/JeffStormer or ko-fi.com/JeffStormer. You can give us a nice iTunes review, shout us out to a friend, give us some love on social media. You can buy some Party of One merch at bit.ly/partyofonemerch. Or if you're looking for more great podcast content, you can check out All My Fantasy Children, which is a character creation, storytelling, and world building podcast that I make with my best friend in the world, Aaron Catano-Saez. We take a listener submitted prompt and spin it into an original fantasy character, populating a shared universe one story at a time. You can also check out Yazeba's Bed and Breakfast, which is an actual play about a heartless witch, a cozy house, and the many people making their homes inside. Both of those you can find wherever you get your podcasts. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. Music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers, and the Party of One logos by Evan Rowland. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates, coming on the show as a guest, or about press coverage of the show, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And unless I am mistaken, that is all we do here. So until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.